podcast. It's not a podcast, is it? But first Facebook Live. But anyway, let me get straight to the point. I know a lot of architects and designers, when you are doing your proposals and dealing with clients, feel that price is an incredibly important aspect, right? And it's what I hear all the time. Everyone's budget conscious and things like that. Well, the research says that price, on all the research, every time they do studies on where does price fit on all the criteria, it usually comes in between 5 and 7 in terms of the most important things, right? 5, 6, 7. Yet architects and designers sell as if price is number one, right? So I just want you to hold this in your head. The research says it's between 5 and 7, usually, on all the studies that get done. Architects act as if it's number one. That's the really interesting bit of the research. So what clients think is important and what you think they think is important are two different things. And there was a good example recently. I've just been away at a weekend and there was about 25 of us stayed at, we've got a cricket team, and one of the guys in the cricket team is exceptionally wealthy. So we all stayed at his house and played a game. He's got a cricket ground in his backyard, and I mean, it's a farm, and he's got a cricket ground on the farm. Lovely house. And we played our game of cricket and had a party. And one of the discussions with his wife was, she was talking about someone trying to sell her something. And one of the comments she made was, well, we're a great client to sell to because there's no budget. Right? There's no budget. But the reason she didn't go ahead with this thing, which related to something to the grounds, was because it didn't fit in with her system. She has a system for looking after the grounds, or her process, and it didn't fit in with that. That was the reason. Now, I bet that salesperson went away and probably would have told their boss, nah, I think it was too expensive for. No, it was definitely not too expensive. It didn't fit in with her system, which now leads me, I guess, to the point of this discussion, this two-way discussion between you and me, where we're both, swapping ideas, is that you've got to ask the right questions to identify what is important to the client you're dealing with, because there's far too much assuming goes on. So a question like, what, in terms of getting this outcome that we're talking about, forget the product or your service, but to get this outcome, what are the most important things for you? Now, in her case, she would have said, well, it's got to fit in with my process for how I look after the grounds. And that's the most important thing, right? Now, if the salesperson had known that, that would be probably a completely different, well, they might have been able to address it and do something with it. That's my point. So if you don't ask questions around what's important to you about getting this outcome, if they say price, okay, fine, maybe it is price, but it's not always price, right? Even if they say price. My wife would say price because she's throwing it out there because she's wanting someone to go on discount and reduce the price. But so not always when they say price, it is number one. But you've got to ask the question, right? What is the most important thing for you in terms of getting this outcome? What are the important things? And you've got to ask those questions. Now, if people go, I don't know, you can sometimes hand them a menu and say, well, these are some of the things that other people say. And you can stick a whole lot of things, including price, on that list and say, can you just put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put them down in order of what's most important to you, right? And then you'll find out what's going on inside their heads. That'll help you then help them, right? So now you're doing a better job of helping them get a result using the criteria that they've given you, which they think is important. Okay, so just thoughts around that. If you've got any thoughts around this, type your opinion in the chat window below. Be interested to see what other people have got to say.